Hello to all. The sermon I'm about to read to you is taken from www.drivesatan.org, which is written by High Priestess Maxine. The creation, DNA, and the nucleotide links. I have allowed the creation of 4 substances for 4 times and 4 corners because they are necessary things for creatures. Father Satan from the Black Book of Satan, chapter 4. The Tree of Knowledge, the Apple and the Serpent. Edward Kelly's vision of the round house adds further credibility to the text written by scholars supporting the concept of the creation of humanity by extraterrestrials through genetic engineering. There is no way Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly had any knowledge of this in the 16th century. The vision of the round house is identical. Humanity was created by extraterrestrials who needed slave laborers in the mines. But eating the ovum from a Cro-Magnon primate and using artificial insemination with the sperm from one of the Nephilim, we were created. The one known as Satan created us and designed us. He intended to bring us knowledge and make us as the gods, but he was prevented from doing so and cursed by some of the other gods. We did not evolve naturally. As opposed to animals who have overall better health and immunity, Satan wished to bring us to perfection, but some of the other gods wanted for us to be destroyed after the mission was over, and since we were becoming an issue, they attempted to let us all drown in the flood. Satan went against the other gods and gave us more advanced genetics. The breath of God is the soul. The chakras are the psychic energy centers that are activated by breathing in certain ways to enable the Kundalini Serpent to ascend. When the Kundalini Serpent ascends, enlightenment or Godhead is achieved. This is a major step in the working for the magnum opus, which gives both physical and spiritual perfection, along with immortality. The Tree of Life is ancient Egyptian in origin. It is actually a pattern either upright or upside down for the genetics of life. It plugs into the flower of life that has been inscribed upon so many walls in Egyptian temples and also in the pyramids. The flower of life is the blueprint for every living thing. In addition, the Tree of Life is a map of the human soul, with the trunk symbolizing the spine, the branches 144,000 nadis, and the fruits symbolizing the rewards of meditation, working on one's soul. One lives from the fruits of one's soul. Fools claim Satan is a Christian invention. All the old gods were made into devils and demons in order to destroy their relations with humans. They are the gods who have been present throughout the life of the human race and have attempted to give us knowledge and help us in our times of need. Cities were destroyed, libraries and other places where books were kept were burned and destroyed. Every culture, such as the Philistines that worshipped other gods, was made war upon and genocide ensued. The Philistines worshipped Beelzebub. Beelzebub was the god of Philistine city of Ekron and Zebulun. Baal, Lord, Zebulun. There are few, if any, trace of the truth concerning these gods. This expert quote from the Catholic Encyclopedia is very revealing. In the same way, the Greeks and Romans may have worshipped their divinities, fondly believing them to be good, but the Christian scriptures declare that all gods of the Gentiles are demons. Catholic Encyclopedia Devil Worship. Another source of this strange worship may be found in the fact that in the early days each nation had its own natural gods. Hence, racial rivalry and hatred sometimes led one nation to regard the protecting divinities of its enemies as evil demons. In this way, many who merely worshipped gods whom they themselves regarded as good beings would be called devil worshippers by men of other nations. Such may be the case with the Deva worshippers in the West. In the same way, the Greeks and Romans may have worshipped their divinities, fondly believing them to be good, but the Christian scriptures declare that all the gods of the Gentiles are demons. The old gods have remained as devils and demons just to survive. A Judeo-Christian God wishes for the destruction of humanity. Everything that the Bible accuses Satan of is really what the Judeo-Christian God truly is, a murderer and a liar from the beginning. True evil deceives. Most of the Holy Bible is comprised of bloodbath after bloodbath, hatred, genocide, and exceptional cruelty. This influence can be seen in the Inquisition, anti-life teachings, especially where the abstinence of sexual intercourse is concerned, to stop us from procreating. Moses went on a rampage of war and slaughter when he descended from the mount under the direction of Jehovah. The incident of Fatima with the Virgin Bitch revealed the alien contempt for humanity in the hopeful anticipation of our blowing ourselves to bits with nuclear weapons, if one can read between the lines. With the opening of the watchtowers, a small increment of humanity has been flooded with knowledge in the last 100 years that has been unparalleled in the whole of history. We have not had time to adapt. This was the sole intention by the angels who communicated with the information to Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, that the knowledge would act to destroy humanity in a short period of time. 100 years is nothing to the gods. The fact that they were angels is portrayed by their arrogance and condescending attitude towards the two men. Demons are very friendly and understanding when treated with respect. I have never known demons to be arrogant. Most people either study physical science or the occult knowledge. Not very many study both. This is where people would benefit by studying both, for in the end it all comes together. Satanism strongly supports and advocates the advancement of the physical sciences. Everything of the so-called supernatural and the occult can be scientifically explained. Unfortunately, the physical sciences have not advanced far enough to fully explain the spiritual as of yet. This is why the Christian churches have vehemently attacked science for centuries. Humanity has been held back dangerously. Crick Francis Harry Compton, Nobel Prize winner for the discovery of DNA and his hypothesis of panspermia. Francis Crick was an English molecular biologist who shared with James Watson the 1962 Nobel Prize in Physiology of Medicine for elucidating the double helix structure of DNA. The prize was also shared with M.H.F. Wilkins, who supplied X-ray data on which the discovery was based. Crick was led by his beliefs that the chances of life originating on Earth were very low to argue the case for panspermia, and in particular a radical form of this hypothesis known as directed panspermia. More recently, Crick was involved with examining the possibility that RNA was the first replicator molecule on Earth during an early biological era known as the RNA world. For the later part of this career, he was at the Salk Institute, California. The creation of humanity. When we look to the Black Book of Satan, the Algebra, we find in chapter 4, Satan states, I have allowed the creation of 4 substances, 4 times, and 4 corners, because they are necessary things for creatures. Yes, the DNA molecule. Anyone who is familiar with the composition and structure of DNA knows the molecule spiral and shaped and collide like a serpent. The DNA also has rungs like a ladder. The rungs of the ladder are made of 4 compounds called bases. The bases are adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, abbreviated A, C, T, and G. These 4 nucleotides can combine in pairs, in sequences of limitless variety, and are bound into place. DNA is the basis of life. Without DNA, life would not exist. The serpent is the symbol of healing, body and soul. The serpent is the symbol of medicine. The caduceus, 2 serpents entwined around the staff. This can be seen in nearly every doctor's office. The serpent is also a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. The Kundalini, fiery serpent lying dormant at the base of the spine, When it is activated through meditation and rises up, one achieves godhood. The serpent has always been Satan's symbol. Christianity and its related ilk have always vehemently attacked the serpent because the serpent is symbolic of life, healing, and the advancement of humanity through knowledge and wisdom. Christianity is and always has been focused on one living for one's death, focusing on a rage torn, defeated, and between blood-eyed and dead, being nailed onto a cross, along with the Judeo-Christian Bible being chock full of mass murder, living blood sacrifices, rape, war, and preying upon innocents. Satan also says in the Black Book, "None shall live in this world longer than the time set by me." Satan created us and determined our lifespan as humans, when he attempted to make us as the gods and give us immortality. The other God stopped him. The soul determines how long one will live. This can also be seen oftentimes if one's astrology chart, which is a map of the soul. The teachings of the false alien God warp, pervert, and margin everything that is good for us. The Christians have attempted to turn the serpent into a symbol of horror. If it wasn't for Christianity, medical science would already have cures for just about every disease or medical condition there is, including aging. The false alien God has used fear, extortion, and other criminal tactics to enslave mankind. The entire doctrine of Christianity, Islam, and its roots of Judaism are anti-human. These aliens hate everything that makes us human. In truth, we have discovered them to be enemy aliens known as Greys, who work under the supervision and direction of more advanced aliens called reptilians. They have cut humanity off from spiritual knowledge through their programs of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The aforementioned programs are not religions in any way. They are not spiritual. They are designed to blind humanity to the so-called sixth sense, to where we cannot see the spiritual aspects, the soul of others, and how we are and have been exploited for our energies and drive into our destruction. Satan knows and understands humanity. Satan accepts us as we are for our individuality. In Satan, we find we become ourselves and become centered. Through this, we can grow, advance, and evolve. So-called Yahweh or Jehovah is hateful, warful, and great deceiver. Those who are deceived are actually led to believe this nefarious being had a hand in our creation. They are truly without, for they do not know the true Father and Creator. Thank you for listening, and hail Satan.